Arizona was one of the biggest surprises of the college football season, going 10-3 with an Alamo Bowl victory over Oklahoma. The Wildcats now come in at number 9 and are way too early top 25 as they make the transition from the Pac-12 to the Big 12, a conference they very well could win in 2024. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad you could join us today to break down Arizona's schedule for this upcoming college football season. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our website, thegridironexpert.com. So much exclusive content over there, you guys, to help you get through this offseason. The season, though, never dies here at our channel, but we want you to become a member of our GE Nation. We don't want you to miss out on any of the future content, especially prediction season, which is right around the corner. So we take a look at Arizona. Full disclosure, we put out our way too early top 25 before the shocking announcement of Jedd Fisch leaving to go to Washington. We put out our way too early top 25 a week after the national championship, and we thought the coaching carousel was slowing down, and it wasn't. Kalen DeBoer leaves Washington to go to Bama. Jedd Fisch leaves Arizona to go to Washington. And so Arizona has to hire Brent Brennan from San Jose State, which wasn't the biggest or best hire in the world, but he's a guy that I think can find success at Arizona at least this year. And the major reason for that is the talent that he retained. Noah Fifito was one of the best quarterbacks in the country last year and did it as a freshman. Tetairoa McMillan is going to be an elite wide receiver, not just in the Big 12, but in the entire country. So the offense is very elite. Last year, this was a pretty young Arizona team. So they have a lot of depth. They have a lot of experience. A young team that got experience last year that's going to be even better this year. If they can continue to be solid on defense, this is a team that will challenge for a Big 12 title in their first year in the conference. And you take a look at their schedule, it really is very favorable. Very favorable in some aspects, I should say. The home slate is great. Arizona has a really good chance, and we're not predicting wins and losses today, but they've got a very good chance to go undefeated at home this year. The road slate, on the other hand, is very, very difficult. You've got a road slate at Kansas State, a non-conference game, but at Kansas State, at Utah, at BYU, at UCF, at TCU. Very difficult games there. But the home record, the home games, the combined record of their home opponents, excluding Northern Arizona, excluding them out of the FCS, the combined record of their home opponents from last year was 31-43. Their toughest home game is going to be West Virginia on October 26th, a West Virginia team that returns a lot of talent from a 9-win team last year. The only other team that had a winning record that they faced at home was what? Texas Tech? Is that right? I mean, that's it, right? I mean, this was a very, very, very easy slate at home for the Wildcats. The road record of their combined opponents, or the combined record of their road opponents, was 33-30, so a little bit above 500. But you got to play, again, a Wildcats team that's very dangerous, a Utes team that's very dangerous. We'll break those down for you right now. Again, you look at the schedule, the home slate, favorable. If they run the table there, they're going to be a solid bowl team. But Arizona obviously wants more. They're a team that with the talent that they have, they believe they can go on and contend for a Big 12 title and be in the hunt for a conference title late in the year. And let's keep in mind, Arizona with the 12-team playoff now has a chance to maybe make that 12-team playoff if all things can go in their favor. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out with a new coach and new schemes. But the beginning of the schedule, New Mexico, Northern Arizona shouldn't be much of an issue. It's that Kansas State game and that Utah game that to me is going to define the season because, like we mentioned, they've got some tough road games down the stretch. We get that. But you got back-to-back road games, and I know the bye week breaks it up, but back-to-back road games against a Wildcats team that's been a perennial contender in the Big 12 under Chris Kleiman, is going to have a great quarterback in Avery Johnson, a great run game, a defense that's always strong. They're playing them in the non-conference, so it won't hurt them in the Big 12 standings, but could hurt them in terms of their playoff hopes. Then you get a bye week, and you've got to go to Salt Lake City in a place where I like to say dreams go to die. Utah is such a difficult place to play. This is a huge team also in their first year in the Big 12, former Pac-12 teams. Arizona did win 42-18 last year, but it was a Utah team that didn't have Cam Rising, didn't have some of their best offensive weapons, and it was a team that was kind of deteriorating at the end of the year, unlike Arizona, who was peaking at the end of the year and getting really, really hot to close out the season. They've now got to go out to Rice-Eccles Stadium to play a Utes team, and getting that week of rest is massive. So that's the thing, guys. You look at those first 4 games, they're probably going to start 2-0, but is Arizona 2-2 going into October? If that's the case, they're in trouble. Granted, only one of those losses would be a conference loss. They're still in the hunt for a Big 12 title. If they can win the Big 12, they're going to the playoff and things like that. But you want to try to have as little amount of damage as possible. Although I always say that if you're going to lose, it's better to lose early than it is to lose late. But Kansas State and UConn are going to define. Those are two very tough road environments, two very good teams, two teams that will be in the hunt for a Big 12 title. So you're playing two of the better teams in the entire conference in back-to-back games, both of them on the road. That's unfortunate. It really is. But then you come out of that, right? You survive that. So if you're Arizona and you're 3-1 or better coming out of September, I think that's a major success. 3-1 or better, that's a major success. Then you get Texas Tech at home. Team that was really disappointing last year. They were kind of a dark horse for many of us, including myself, to maybe win the Big 12 in 2023. Fell flat on their face quickly after that 0-2 start. All the more reason to get off to a strong start. You see a Texas Tech team that had sky-high expectations dash like that. Arizona, same thing. Sky-high expectations. If they lose to Kansas State and Utah, they're dash just like that before the season really even gets going. Then they got to go to BYU, a BYU team out in Provo that is not easy to play. That's a very difficult place to play. So the two Utah teams, and Arizona has to travel to both of them. And neither of those places are easy places to play at all. BYU team that just missed out on a bowl game in their first year in the Big 12, hoping to take that extra step forward, be a little bit better, and at least clinch 6 wins. They take on Colorado, another former Pac-12 member, beat them 34-31 last year. The Buffaloes won't stand a chance if they can't fix their defense. The offense isn't terrible. The defense was atrocious. They've got to fix it, but Arizona getting them at home is big. We mentioned West Virginia. That's their toughest home game. It really is. I mean, New Mexico, Northern Arizona, Texas Tech, Colorado. Outside of West Virginia, it's Houston under a new coach in Willie Fritz, and Arizona State. Big-time rivalry game. Arizona won 59-23 last year, and the Sun Devils under Ken Dillingham just aren't there quite yet. It'll be year 2 for them. They're not going to be there quite yet. We're not predicting wins and losses today, but again, I would expect Arizona to be favored in that game. So all the home games, Arizona State losing record, Houston losing record, Colorado losing record, New Mexico losing record, Northern Arizona out of the FCS. Only teams that finished with a little bit above 500 were Texas Tech and West Virginia. You get them both at home, the Mountaineers are going to be the toughest, by far. By far. And if Arizona's defense is up to the challenge and they shut down that running attack by West Virginia, they'll be just fine. UCF is going to be a tough one. KJ Jefferson transferring in from Arkansas to run Gus Malzahn's offense. This is a UCF team that maybe could be your dark horse this year. And the Big 12's expanded. It's big. You got Arizona and Utah and Colorado and Arizona State and then all the teams that joined last year to expanding conference. But UCF is one of those sneaky teams that offensively can hang with anybody. If they can just have a mediocre defense, they could find themselves in the hunt for a Big 12 title in November. So I would be cautious of UCF for sure, especially coming off what's probably going to be a very hard-fought victory or a hard-fought game over West Virginia. Coming out of the bye week, we mentioned Houston shouldn't be too big of an issue. Arizona State at TCU, a team that missed out on a bowl game last year after being the national runner-up in 2022. We're not quite sure what to expect from the Horned Frogs. Really don't know what Sonny Dykes is going to have up his sleeves. They're not going to go, be a repeat playoff team or anything like that, but maybe a bowl team, and you got to be cautious of that. This is one of those things where if Arizona is meeting those expectations, every game gets scarier and scarier because one slip up, especially this late in the season, could cost you everything. So what will the pressure be like for the Wildcats on November 23rd at TCU? So all things considered, guys, the schedule has its pros and cons. If you're Arizona, you're looking at this, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 home games that I expect them to be favored in. And let's say they did take care of business. Boom, that's 7 wins, bowl game. But they want more. We haven't projected as a top 10 team early on. So obviously you're expecting better things. You got 7 wins there. Where do they win on the road? Kansas State and Utah, very, very difficult. Those are by far the 2 biggest games and toughest tests of the year. BYU, UCF, and TCU. I could see Arizona being favored in all of those, or at least 2 of those. But do they take care of business? Do they fall victim to any of these traps? Does Brent Brennan, who had a really up and down career, really only like 1 good year at San Jose State, does he come in year 1 with all this talent, this young talent, and lead Arizona to a conference title or at least a conference championship appearance in his first season in Tucson? So many questions surrounding this Wildcats football program, but the schedule is there. The talent is there. Will they deliver? That is the question. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to check out everything down in the description below, including our website, thegridironexpert.com. Tons of exclusive content over there, guys, to help you get through this offseason. We want you to check it out and become a member of our GE Nation. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.